I just felt hopeless and overwhelmed all the time.
I thought pretty much my life was over.
I could have died.
I know I was not sane because I kept doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
There were times that I struggled to get out of bed.
How could I love my children so much, but my mom couldn't love me? My name is Candy Gonzalez. I was raised in a family where selling drugs and drug addiction was the norm. And in second grade is when I was originally taken from my mom. The only thing I knew was normal was the abuse that my mom gave me. I didn't know it as something bad. So when the police officers came in and ransacked our house, threw our furniture around, they were taking my mom. Like, everything was said and done. They were handcuffing her and taking her, and I remember reaching for her and wanting her. They wouldn't let me go to my mom. I didn't know at the time that what they were doing was for my best interest. Getting ripped away from the only thing that you know is normal, and then being thrown in some other house and being told that that's normal when I wasn't happy there. That wasn't my home, that wasn't my mom, those weren't my siblings. It was an emotional roller coaster. I don't ever remember feeling fully happy.
My name's Brett Mast. I had developed into alcoholism pretty hard. It became an all-day thing, all-night thing towards the end. I had some really bad alcohol percentages that were near fatal in the hospital emergency room. That was a big stumbling block, but my mental state had tended to mirror how bad my alcoholism was getting. I'd been depressed for many years. Any kind of anxiety, any kind of pain, I was able to drink it away. As I developed into a harder and harder alcoholic, I tended towards the bipolar and the suicidal. I used alcohol so much as a coping mechanism and to deaden me from my feelings. And I had anger over several other things that I didn't realize I had anger over, that I'd been keeping under the surface. But mostly I was angry at myself.
I'm Brandy Baker. I was 11 years old the first time I attempted suicide. My parents knew, but they kind of lived in their own little world, so I was meant to be pushed under the rug and not, that's information that you don't say out loud. Life was a constant struggle for me. There were times that I struggled to get out of bed. I felt worthless as a person, as a parent. I did not see that I had any value at all. The day started off like a normal day. I was making sure the kids got to where they needed to for school, and then I had one consuming thought that wouldn't let go, and that was to just take all my medications and be done with it, because I didn't feel that I was good enough for anybody. I felt that my children would be better off without me, and my husband would be better off without me. I'd had my medications filled just the night before, so I had plenty of medicine to do what I needed to. And the biggest thing that stopped me was the fear of my children finding me instead of someone else. I didn't want to be the trauma in their life. So I took my medications to CrossWinds and started therapy from there.
I was really opposed to going to therapy when I was younger, just because the stigma of me being crazy, I didn't even want to be associated with CrossWinds, So I was always really like, oh, I don't need this, I'm perfectly fine. But once I got in the office and sat down, and it actually helped me a lot. The way she allowed me to open up is just kind of like a friendship. I didn't want something to feel like I'm at a doctor's office, like I have something wrong with me. I wanted to feel like I was with a friend, which is exactly what both my therapist and my case manager did for me. I was so comfortable in the relationship that at one point in time of my life, I was really down and I had attempted suicide, and I took all these pills and I was just laying there, and then I was like, I don't want to die, you know what I mean? And so I called. I was like, I didn't want to call my family, which is weird. You'd think that that's who you would want to call, but I didn't even want them to know that I was feeling this way. So I called my case manager, and she was there. Thank God she was. It was like the middle of the night. I could have died.
Well, towards the end of my living with my brother, I'd asked him to take me to the state hospital because I knew I couldn't afford a rehab. So I went to the state hospital. I was underweight, undernourished, and I couldn't stay sober. I felt unworthy of a lot of things. I felt unworthy of my family at times. Felt inadequate. because I hadn't lived up to my potential. That was hard for me. I'm sure I wasn't the first one that walked in their door that felt the way I did and had the same problems. I didn't have a job. I had some money in the bank, but I didn't have a job. So CrossWinds came into the hospital and coordinated therapy. They coordinated rehabilitations, case working. And then Andrea, she helped me get a job after I had sobered up that last time. She helped me write my resume, and she helped me follow up with the people that I'd sent them to, and I was able to get a job that I kept for about 3 years. The last 2 of those years, I was going to school to be a medical assistant, which I am now.
My therapist was amazing. She helped me learn the tools to be able to deal with everyday things in life. I regained confidence in myself and realized I had strengths to carry through the day. I found value in myself. I feel that the best decision I made was definitely going to CrossWinds. I probably wouldn't be here today if I wouldn't have gone to CrossWinds and got help.
When everything turned for me was my children, because it's not just me at this point. It's my children too, who I have to take care of, who I have to set an example for, who I want the best for. And I think that's when I started putting all the stepping stones that CrossWinds gave me and all the tools that they gave me. That's when I started to use them because I wanted to be my best self.
My whole life has changed since my time with them. I have been able to learn to control my emotions, to be less medicated and still be a more stable person, to continue my sobriety to this day. I never felt like I was left behind or forgotten. Through working with CrossWinds, I've been able to change my life to a point where really anything I want to set my mind to is possible.
Life is much easier. CrossWinds has helped me restore confidence in myself. I feel that I am capable of facing the world. It's given me an opportunity to share with others my own story and struggles and help others with theirs.
Life is good. Life is good. I have things that I never thought I would have. You know, as a child, I always thought I would live in poverty with nothing, and now I have more than what I could ever ask for. I mean, thanks to my husband, I can be a stay-at-home mom and give my kids the love and attention that I always wanted.